Welcome back to Backstage Pass Rock News. In rock news today, David Ellefson says that a grumpy Dave Mustaine was upset when the bassist added an intro to the MEGADETH song Kingmaker, after Dave initially gave Ellefson a free license to contribute to 2013's Super Collider record. Last month, during an appearance on the latest episode of SiriusXM's Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk, Mustaine reflected on the writing process for the Super Collider record, saying,
"And sometimes I don't want anybody coming into my songwriting process and changing a riff. I came in on the record that Johnny K did. It was before Dystopia. I think it was Super Collider. And I came in one morning and Johnny K was in there, a song named Kingmaker. Kingmaker was done, and I came in there and I heard Ellefson and Johnny K in there recording a part on the beginning of the song, and it was nothing to do with the song. It had nothing. The riff wasn't in the record anywhere. And I came in and I said, "What are you two doing?" Trying to explain, I'm going to fucking poach your song and I'm going to put one of my riffs in the front of the song. And it was so pathetic. I just felt so sorry for the two of them. I just said, go ahead, leave it in there. But if you listen to Kingmaker tonight when you go home, you're going to hear the beginning of the song. There's a really dumbass part there, and that's it.
Ellefson responded to Mustaine's comments while appearing on the latest episode of the 2020 D podcast. Recalling the recording sessions for Super Collider, the former MEGADETH bassist said,
I don't like to get down in the mud because, that's great for headlines and clickbait, but it doesn't really do much for anything else. It's news of the moment, and that passes, and then something else comes across the news feed. So, look, I'm pretty well known because of music, and I'd rather be known for that than, fighting in tabloids and stuff like that. So, to me, it's like, why go down in the mud, and fight like a child, it's uncalled for. So, regarding Kingmaker, it's interesting. The record was done, or at least my bass parts were done. And Dave, at the end of the session, at the end of the day, he said to me, "Hey man, if you want to go through the record, if there's anything you want to add or tweak or change, blah, 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 blah," giving me free license to do so because, he had signed off on everything. Said, all right, no problem. So after he left, me and Chris Broderick and Johnny K sat in the studio, and I said, I do have this one little bit, this little thing, and I showed it to them, and Broderick goes, "Dude, that would be really cool at the beginning of Kingmaker." I said, interesting idea. And in my opinion, I think Kingmaker is probably the better song in the record, and just, off the top for me. Johnny liked it. We worked on it and put it together, and we were all excited. Dave walks in the next day in a much different mood, grumpy, I might add, and not feeling so joyous as the night before. And I said, "Hey, man, I think maybe Johnny, either me or Johnny said, 'Hey, I got something I want you to listen to that we worked on last night.'" And it was this kind of, disapproving look. And Johnny plays it for him, all excited, because I think the three of us all heard the same thing. "Hey, if you want to add anything, you want to work on anything, please do." Well, Dave didn't seem to maybe remember that conversation. And so what he walked into was, "Why the hell are you messing with my song?" And I think he pulled Broderick aside and said, "Don't you dare add David Ellefson stuff to my songs." And, and that started, we tested that little theory. I remember when I first came back to the band in 2010, we'd done a year of Rest in Peace. We had about 10 weeks to write the 13 record, the record to become 13. And I said, "Well, look, we're all going to be at NAMM in Anaheim. Why don't we just go down to Vic's garage, which is down in kind of by San Diego, Fallbrook area, north of San Diego." I said, "Why don't we just get in a room and fire some ideas and just see where we're at with everything, And I swear to God, the first day we were working, it took a couple of days because we were listening to stuff. Dave wanted to listen to everybody's ideas. And he acknowledged everybody had a couple things that he liked. And so we get in a room, guitars on, saddle up, and we start playing on something. And keep in mind, I hadn't been in this environment for almost 10 years now, right? Because this is, 2011. Last time we'd worked on a record together was World Needs a Hero in 2001. Yeah, so literally 10 years. So, and I've been working with all kinds of other people where it's like, hey, killer idea. How about this? Oh man, how about that? You know, collaborative, right? You're having musical conversation in the room. So, you know, and knowing how things have been in the past, Dave will start with something, bring an idea in, and maybe someone says, hey, that's cool. How about we add this little bit here? Or maybe that riff goes with this riff. No. And so I said, hey, I got something that might go with that. Dave immediately took his guitar off, walked in the office. I looked at Sean Drover, and Sean and Chris are just shaking their head. I said, what the hell is that all about? He goes, dude, trust me, the days of collaborating are long gone. Like that Megadeth that you were in, that's way over. So in the office, and Dave was furious, but yet, you know, we didn't want our newfound friendship to deteriorate. So I said, what's the deal? And he said, don't try to put your ideas into my songs. I said, no problem. I said, all good. Just today's day one. I said, no worries, you know. And that was the last we ever jammed together. Everything after that, on every other Megadeth record after that, was just Dave writing the songs, doing his thing. Now that was different on this current record in 2019. You know, where we were in the room together. Actually, Dave was doing his thing, and then he was off taking care of his medical stuff at the time. And so Chris Reichstar said, look, to me and Kiko and Dirk, said, look, you guys are here. We need to write a record. We got beginnings of 5 songs, and we've supposed to be working on this record for a year and a half. Get in the room, like, let's go. So we saddled up and started ripping on stuff. In fact, I remember there's one song, might have even been that first one that they put out. I can't remember. It was one of them, but I remember we kind of modeled it after Black Friday. We just kind of took, you know, this sort of mellow intro into a full-on ripping part. So we went down, and I remember Dave came in, again, furious that we were working on stuff without him. And Rakestraw took the bullet and said, hey, this is my idea, man. These guys are here. You know, everybody's here to work. We need to get a record done. And to which he replied, I want to know who wrote what part where. And I could see it coming. He goes, I knew he was going to see what parts I wrote and take him out, which he did. He took all my parts off the record, and of which there were several. And, you know, either rewrote them or, you know, changed them just to make sure that I wouldn't have any writing on the record. And I just saw it coming. I rolled my eyes and just like, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? So I was there for about 5 weeks, and then I went home for Father's Day, and I just never went back. I was like, whatever, you know. I went back a year later to record bass, and you know, and all of a sudden all my parts are off the record, you know, all my kind of writing contributions. So you know, we did work together on a track in 2021. It's funny, in 2021, a psychic called me up. A friend of mine, she did an interview for a Road and Track magazine. She calls me up, and one of the first things she says, she goes, yeah, Dave doesn't want you on the new album. I'm like, yeah, no shit. You know, and it's, you know, so it is what it is. And again, I just let everybody have their time and their space to do what they needed to do. But so, you know, I kind of saw events of last year as just the perfect opportunity to, you know, choose box office over brotherhood. And, you know, so honestly, look, I look back on it now, I feel like I got kicked out of hell. So it was abusive for sure. You know, it was just abusive. It was unnecessary. And so, you know, quite honestly, it's like, all right, you know, I'd already moved a lot of my equipment out of the Megadeth storage locker after I recorded my bass parts, you know, and Dave, you know, even said he had a resentment toward me. He's fighting with himself. Like there's no one, you know, he's in a game of tug of war with him. So I'm not fighting with him. I've just moved on. You know what I mean? It's like, I remember we talked about that after we jammed with Metallica on the Big Four. I said, how was that last night playing Am I Evil? And he goes, you know, those guys kicked me out of the band and they just moved on. And I held on to the resentment for all these years. It's like, same thing for me. It's like, why is he resenting me? It's like, he got rid of me. Supposedly the problem should have gone away if he got rid of me, but the problem still seems to be there. But look, I think part of it too is, he's obviously not gotten over this thing about being fired from Metallica. So he wanted to do to somebody else what he felt they did to him, which is kick him out, and then someone else played his guitar parts. So let's kick Junior out, and then we'll have someone else play his bass parts. And to me, I'm like, I don't care. I already fucking helped put the record together. I played on the record. I got paid to be on the record. So, hey, if you want someone else playing it, whatever, you know? Well, look, you know, the role only worked if I would be Junior and say, yes, Dave. Right? Because those are the only two words that work, you know, in the Emperor's New Clothing. Yes, Dave. It's like, it doesn't have to be World War III. At least it isn't for me. You know, that's not my thing. Maybe it is for others. live and let live. You move on, and that's why, again, I don't, you don't, when your kid's having a temper tantrum, you don't fight with them. You just go, all right, yeah, fair enough, try it out. You know what I mean? And then you move on.
The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead was released on September 2nd via Yumi Records. Please don't forget to subscribe, and please hit that like button for more rock-related content.